Episode 10 of No Ideas Original.
10.
Ballin on a budget.
Yeah, 10, bro.
Yeah, we got a chef in the house for this particular
Yes,
episode.
we
We
do.
got a chef in our kitchen, Chef Nellz.
Beautiful chef.
Hello.
Nellz. How are you?
I'm great, thank
Great
you.
to have you, man.
Welcome to No Ideas Original.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here today.
Now, we have a ritual that we do at No Ideas Original, and we've been doing it since we started the podcast in conjunction with the quarantine. Before we get started talking about the topic for the day, we always go around and just do kind of like a week in review and talk to people and ask them how their week has been and what they've been up to for the week. So we'll start with Rob, and then we'll go to you, and I'll close out.
Okay.
My week is as busy as everything because I'm a stay-at-home dad. So, you know, I'm doing the stay-at-home dad stuff. I like the Luda.
The verses.
Yeah, Luda versus Nelly. That was pretty dope. I thought I'd do some throwbacks back in there. But it's pretty dope. I enjoyed that. So dialysis has been great. My health has been intact. You know what I mean? So things have been pretty great for the week, man, for me.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I had did you Nellz, did you watch it too, the verses?
I tuned in for a little bit. I couldn't keep a straight face when they started going in on Nelly. They started calling him Nelly Riley. His Wi-Fi was looking real
he was
crazy.
looking real
and Luda in just regular Luda fashion with the jersey, had the chain, his afro was going on. I'm like, yeah, we know who won.
Yeah. You want to run off the inception.
Yeah, they didn't do the numbers that the ladies Erica Badu and Jill Scott did, but they
not
did decent
close.
numbers.
They
though.
did decent numbers, but not as close.
Swiss did say they had 1 billion impressions though.
They did.
So that means people came in and out of that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They was on for a little while, man.
I didn't even watch all of it. I didn't watch all of it because I'm like, I couldn't deal with Nelly Wi-Fi. I felt like Nelly was on dial-up or something.
And some of Nelly Jones just had me like,
I think the funniest one for me
radio was
when I said to Rob, I was like, man, he needs to put the Band-Aid on his Wi-Fi. And Tiana Taylor actually typed that into the little chat. And I was like, see, I'm not the only one that feels like he needs to take that Band-Aid off his face, put that on his Wi-Fi, and then they'll be good to go.
Yeah, he said that his Wi-Fi was messed up because it was raining, but nah, it was just, he was on like the dial-up joint. I wasn't feeling it.
Crazy.
So
How was your week, bro?
It was, it was alright. It was busy. We getting back up to speed with the company, so a lot of work is going into to that. I went to deliver like our care packages to some of our individuals. It was cool because we had a chance to see some of the clients that I haven't seen in a while, and seeing them in their environment, like going to their home, is a lot different than actually seeing them at our programs.
Yeah, it's a little bit more personal, man.
Yeah, it is, and just thinking about like the impression that you've made on them, like all of them are extremely excited to see you, and everybody's like, oh, when we getting back to normal? And these are the same people that when they had to come to the program every day, they complained tooth and nail, or the attendance was spotty, but now they all really missing the program.
That's funny that you say that because my day job, we do this like connection video call where like just a random 15 people will be chosen to go on a video call to start the week off. Everyone kind of, puts their input. This was the first time that I've had to do it. So I get on and, I have my work from home office set up and everything. And in the backdrop is my library. So as soon as the call starts, the CEO of the company, the first thing goes, Janelle, we're going to start with you because your backdrop is amazing. And I'm just like, okay. And everyone, that kind of started off. But the fact that people can engage, see each other on the other side of a camera, hear voices they haven't heard in a while, see faces they haven't seen in a while, it matters for some people. Some people live alone.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to have a house full, but there's a lot of people that live by themselves and they're missing just that conversation. Yeah.
That's right. That's very important.
Yeah, I had a chance to finish that the 50 Cent book too. Yeah. Which is I'm not a huge 50 Cent fan, but I have to say like his book.
You gotta respect him, man.
His business acumen.
No doubt
is just that alone. I'm not even worried about the lyrics. I'm looking at it from a different lens now. Nah, for real. I told you he got me with vitamin water.
Yeah,
and I'm saying to myself,
yep.
How you do that?
Yeah.
But
his business acumen. What he did with his book that was dope to me is he took his book, like all his concepts, and applied this like real stuff that we like stories we seen. Like he talks about his son, he talks about his son's mother, he talks about the members of G Unit and the business decisions that he made and business decisions that they didn't make and how it impacted his business. Like he went really deep and personal.
Shout out to 50 Cent.
Yeah.
Because you would think that they would all be at the same place because they pretty much all started at the same place. G Unit was a collective. They were all on the mixtapes. They were all doing this pretty much the same things. And everybody said Lloyd was the best one out of all of them, but his career never quite made it over
I
there.
don't know. I don't know.
He go into detail in the book about that also, why he feel like
I
people
might have to
didn't-
check that out.
Yeah, it's a really good book.
I might have to check that
So
out.
now I got to figure out what the next book is gonna be that I crack open, and then we continue to have our Prime Video
Apply
ritual.
some of that 50 Cent here, son. Apply some of that 50
See,
Cent.
but you
We get the
you're a
Empire and all
purist.
that going here.
You're a purist. Like, you gotta have the book in your hand or whatever, right?
I gotta feel it. I gotta
nah.
smell it. I gotta look at the words. Because for me, when I read, I can take a paragraph and I go through every word. I go to the meaning of the word, why he said it that way. Then I start getting to who the author is. Why would he think that? See, then I'm still on that same page before I get to chapter 1, chapter 2. So that's why I don't go through books as fast as you do, because I'll take a paragraph or a chapter and I sit and
It's
I
like you're
marinate.
studying what you're
Right.
reading
I
to
need-
really and truly be able
That's
to take
how-
it in. I couldn't read like that. I do go through books
Yeah,
a lot
y'all-
faster as well.
Y'all fly through books.
And at times, I find that one book may lead me to want to pick up another book, and I'll be reading 2 or 3 books at the same time, but they still all kind of make sense why I'm reading them all at one
Yeah,
time. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah. So we got our Prime movie ritual where we watch the movies on Prime.
Nice.
Like I told y'all last week, those
Y'all
movies.
came up.
that-
He said wifey came up with some classic hits in there somewhere.
Y'all, if y'all got Amazon Prime, like, yo, check out some of those movies.
Yeah.
What you
Yeah.
watch?
What's let me see. What do we watch?
Throw a title out there.
We watched Maria's Revenge.
Okay.
Maria's Revenge. That's what I was telling you before. Well, Hoops. Remember Hoops? With Flavor of
Yeah,
Love?
you said she was in there.
Yeah, Jim Jones was in it briefly.
Okay.
I don't know. Throw out what's some other titles, Tanya, that we've watched.
I have
All of them-
Amazon
all of them kinda
Prime,
go the same-
but I like
same.
to actually look at the Prime original series that they have on there.
Right.
So the one I'm gonna check out this week is Janelle Monáe was promoting that she's in. It's called Homecoming, and this is the 2nd season of it. I didn't even hear about it prior to see her,
Right.
promote about it. So
Right.
I want to go back and look at the 1st season and check it out
Yeah.
and see what it is and get into the 2nd season of it. So
Yeah.
I like their series and the things that they're doing with their series, because they're bringing people out from an acting perspective that you're like, oh wow,
That's
they're
a good
actually
person.
pretty dope.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. That's
Yeah,
right,
like
that's
there's
right.
a lot of content out there now. Like, just listening to like different podcasts that people have, and
Yes, sir.
everybody putting their books out now, all the music that's coming out. So it's an exciting
And
time
no
for
ideas
creators.
original.
Yeah.
Episode 10.
Well, we did. Janelle, how was your week? What you been up to?
My week was good. Like I said, it started off with a nice little video call with some people that I haven't seen in a while. Still Nellz Kitchen, always, at the forefront of everything I do. I actually made a food delivery over the weekend and got a text message from my sister who ordered the food from me because she was going on a little road trip. And she said, that food saved my life because I didn't want to go in any of these restaurants.
Where'd she go?
She went to Virginia Beach.
Wow.
And she said that it was very different coming out of New York going into Virginia Beach because no one was wearing masks. So they were looking at her like, why does she have a mask on?
Yeah.
And she couldn't understand why they didn't. So people were on the beach, they were walking the boardwalk in the whole 9 yards, but
Was
no
it
masks.
crowded?
She said it was a decent amount of people out. The weather wasn't great. It was actually a little overcast
cloudy,
and
yeah.
things like that, so it wasn't great weather. So it didn't have like a flood of people outside. But she actually ended up writing a letter to the hotel that she stayed at because at the concierge desk, no masks. They weren't utilizing the protective
barriers,
screens. And my sister is a nurse. She works out of
Frontline.
the Bronx. So she has literally seen what this has done to people. So seeing that for her was a little disheartening. It's like, wow, people really acting like this thing isn't real. And of course it isn't as real in Virginia as it was in New York, but that doesn't make it any less real.
Yeah, but I thought it was like a federal mandate that everybody had to have a mask.
It's in public
Federal
places, but
smearl. Ain't nobody listening to no federal.
literally, who's policing these people on the beach?
Right. Ain't nobody
They're not
doing
having
that.
somebody walking up and down the beach saying, "Hey, put your mask on, put your
But they
mask
got
on."
they got them walking around the hood. They got that for sure.
right now.
Yeah, the only thing is they're not gonna ask you twice.
Right.
Right.
That's it.
But that, to me, it should be across the board, or it shouldn't be. I'm going to always do it because I want to protect myself, and I want to protect anyone that I come in contact with.
Correct.
I make a delivery, I have my mask on, I have gloves on. I don't care if I'm delivering to a neighbor, I'm delivering to a family member. Still have to take the same precautions because across the board, it should have, a level of consistency to it, how you're treating other people and how you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Stay safe out there, man.
Yeah. So tell us what inspired you to become a chef and made you decide to start Nellz Kitchen.
Well, how much time do we have? I'm kidding. Cooking, before even chefing, cooking just became a part of my everyday once I started to have children. Because, you have one, okay, no problem. Then number 2 comes along. Then number 3 comes along. Then you realize they eat a lot. So you're going out to eat, you're spending a lot of money, and it just doesn't even make sense because it's like, I can make them better food at home. So I would cook at home and make them meals and everything like that, and then family functions would come up, and I would make food for family functions, and then requests would come in. We want her to make this, and we want this, and
Black families, boy.
They will put you to work. They will definitely put you to work. So from birthday parties for the kids and having family over, and then as they got older, their needs, I have literally, my household consists of 2 pescatarians, 1 with fish and peanut allergies, and a husband with dietary restrictions out the wazoo, but also dietary necessities that I have to incorporate into meals. So then the chef hat came on, because now I have to get creative. Now I have to make sure that I'm covering all bases and making sure that, everyone is getting everything that they need nutritionally, but still making sure that it's good too. And you can't get that you can't go to a restaurant and say, oh, I need this, but take out this and do this. They're going to look at you like, huh? We taking it out of a freezer and sticking it in an oven for 10 minutes. It's
Let
already
this lady out,
preset.
she's bugging. She's got all these restrictions.
And then the restaurants that will make those concessions for you, you're paying for those concessions. You can go to Ricardo's in Harlem and say, oh, don't put mushrooms in my this. But a plate is what? $70, $80, $90?
Yeah.
So, so that's kind of, it just really just came out of me doing what I love, and then having people encourage me and say, hey, why don't you do this for this? Why don't you do it just on a small scale, but still? So it's funny, the development that I live in, my neighbor was having a birthday party for her daughter who was turning 25. But she had just moved to the area, didn't know the restaurants, didn't know any catering companies, whatever, and they were from the Bronx. So to have the food delivered, it was going to cost so much. Yeah. So we got into a conversation, and she was like,
I'll put on my chef hat. Let's do it. I'm just joking.
Didn't go quite like that, a little bit though. And we worked out a menu, and she said, let me know the cost and everything like that. Her and her husband went through everything with me. And it was like a cookout, barbecue, celebration, birthday party, whatever. She bought a grill because she wanted to be able to have jerk chicken and kebabs and all this kind of stuff. And literally gave me full reign of her kitchen for a day.
Yeah.
She said every single person at that party was like, who is your chef? They loved the food. And I was just like,
I did that?
Huh? Me? Lolo me? After that, I did... a close family friend, they were having a baby shower. I did the baby shower for them. Then their sister-in-law decided she wanted me to cook for her baby shower and gender reveal. And then it just kind of just kept going and growing and growing. And here I am.
Nice. That's what's up, man. But babe, talk about, I say babe because this is my wife.
I did. It's originally the first sexual harassment lawsuit.
Listen. Talk about the importance of eating healthy and eating clean.
I mean, we already know that as, people of color, we deal with diabetes, we deal with hypertension,
Correct.
we deal with obesity more so than any other. And why is that? Because we're not taking the time to look at the things that we're putting into our bodies and saying, maybe I shouldn't eat this cheeseburger from this place, and I should go home and actually grind up my own meat that I'm selecting and make my own.
That's
because that's you know what you're putting into it when you're making it yourself.
Right.
So even though they give you a menu and they say, oh, this has this amount of calories and this has this, you don't know where do those numbers come from? Who's auditing that?
Right.
Like, seriously. So
right.
so for me, again, always put in, the importance of our bodies, because once you put it in, your body has to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, right.
People wonder why they feel sluggish at 10 o'clock in the morning. What did you eat for breakfast? That grits, turkey, bacon, egg, bagel, that all tasted real good, but you put a lot on your system before you even started your day.
And I think we talked about having a lot of meat, eating a lot of meat, man. And meat is on our tables at least 3 times a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It works so hard against the system when you're trying to be productive and you're tired or you're lethargic and you're slowed down, because your body's like, yo, I gotta get rid of that burger, I gotta get rid of that ham sandwich this morning. You know what I'm saying? So
and we try to start our days as early as possible, but you want to kind of build up through the day with what you're putting into your body.
Right.
Like get everything going first before you put the heavy in there. Because now once your metabolism, your blood is flowing, everything like that, if you do decide I gotta jones in for a burger, you're gonna
throw a burger in there.
but you're gonna burn it off before you end your day. Because once you end your day and your body is at rest, it's still working. It's still trying to figure out how to break down all of those things that you put into it, what it needs to keep and what it needs to eliminate.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
You said, you made a distinction. You said, I was cooking and then chefing. Like, there is a distinction between cooking
Absolutely.
and chefing. What do you see as the difference between cooking and chefing?
For me, cooking is what I've always done. It's something that's always brought me, a sense of joy. It's also therapeutic for me to go into my kitchen sometimes and kind of work out whatever I'm dealing with emotionally, getting my hands into some food. But then the chef hat came on when I realized that I had a gift when it came to cooking. Because I can now share this idea of healthy eating, of clean eating, of eating in abundance, of eating at home. I mean, we're talking about not even, 20, 30 years ago when it was like traditional to sit at the table and gather to have dinner at least 2-3 times a week.
You didn't eat out at all.
And if you did, it was on an occasion. Now, I can't tell you how many friends I have conversations with that say, oh yeah, this one already ate, I'm about to go into... They don't even gather at their dining tables anymore to eat together as a family unless it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, or Easter.
Most people's dining table is just a platform for your mail. It's just mail sits there now. So there's mail, your hat, your keys, your phone, everything but a plate and some food. It's crazy, man.
It really is. So, when I'm thinking of all of these things and saying that, the chef part of it is, it's sharing it.
Right.
It's sharing it and bringing to another household or bringing to another occasion that feeling of home, that feeling of comfort, that feeling that it does not have to come from a name that has a commercial running on the television.
That's
you
right.
can really and truly. And then when I have conversations with people, they're like, how do you know so much about food? How do you not know so much about it? You're eating it all the time. Don't you want to know what you're eating and what it does?
Message.
And how it does, the things that it's doing, and what's affecting you and what's not? Like I said, we're the ones suffering from high blood pressure. Put the salt down. And the sodium is not just in the salt. It's in the preservatives. It's in the fried, the grease, all of those things that, again, are so accessible to us and taste so good. We want to eat it all the time. But you can make it. I'm not a fan of the air fryer. Let me just put that
I'm going to ask you about that later.
I'm not a fan of the air fryer. But a lot of people have now kind of gone to this idea that because they're air frying it, that makes my fried food healthy. How come? Are you still salting it and battering it and putting all the stuff on before you put it in the air fryer? It's in the ingredients of what the air fryer, all it's doing is cooking it. You still have to control what's actually going into it.
What do you think about people, like, in terms of the healthy options? There are people I've heard before say, well, the reason why I don't eat healthy is the cost that's associated with eating healthy. I mean, a lot of people believe that they could go to McDonald's and go on the dollar menu and get a meal and be like, done. Here's a meal for somebody. Versus going into a Whole Foods or something like that and dropping that bag to actually
or even going into their pantry and seeing what they got in their pantry.
But and this is where, you know, people do your due diligence and just understand what it is that you're eating to begin with. How is it that I can walk into a franchise and get 20 pieces of chicken for $1, but I walk into the supermarket and I can't buy one chicken drumstick for that same dollar? How are they equating that? Because they're still in it to make money as well. So what are you taking away from yourself by eating on this, you know, assumed budget? No. Right. You go into a supermarket, there's different ways to do it. I have a large family. I don't think there is any single one person in my family that doesn't eat a lot. But just because they're eating a lot, it doesn't mean that it has to be bad what they're eating. You do, when you go shopping, look at the products, look at the cost per pound. A lot of people don't even pay attention to the cost per pound. That's why there's a difference between a $20 pack of chicken and maybe a $10 pack of chicken. What's the cost per pound? What's the company? Whole Foods, they push this idea of everything is organic. Everything is organic, and because it's organic, it costs more. Well, that bell pepper that I bought at Whole Foods and the bell pepper that I bought at ShopRite, it cooked the same exact way. It tasted the same way, but yet the Whole Foods one was 3 times as much money. So it's the brand, it's the name on the packaging. If you look at the top companies that own all of these smaller companies, they will tell you themselves, we repackage the same exact thing depending on which store it's going into. So the ShopRite brand is the Stop and Shop brand, is the C-Town brand, is the Pioneer brand. But they're just packaging it for that distributor. So I would say there's no such thing as I can't afford to eat healthy. Why not? Because if you're going to spend $5, look at what you need to buy. Spend your $5 the best way. I never go shopping without first planning my shop. Because if I know I need to get oil and vegetables and fruit and everything else, I make myself a list. I know what it is that I'm going out there to get. And I don't go out there with just my pocketbook open. I say, all right, this stuff should cost me around it, because again, I'm paying attention to what I'm buying. I'm paying attention to sales. There's nothing wrong with a sale.
Nothing wrong with coupons.
There is nothing wrong with coupons.
A sale is needed.
The sale is needed.
because if they can sell it to you on sale for that price, why can't they sell it to you for that price all the time? Why is there a sale? It's because they want to highlight certain items. They also want to kind of get certain items out of their warehouse and push it out. You can go into a supermarket sometimes and see 5 boxes of pasta for $1. How come they used to be $1 each box? Because now they have an influx. They need to kind of get rid of some inventory.
So when you shop, you pretty much take your time. You go through what it is that you're looking for. You just not arbitrarily just, I need chicken. I need this. I need that. You ain't looking at nothing.
I already know.
You read what's on there. You pay attention to what it is that you're putting in your body, so that you can feel a different way after you're eating. So you ain't got to be out there.
And I also kind of mentally meal plan every week. Like I know mentally, all right, this week I want to make fajitas and I want to make, you know, salad and whatever. So again, keeping that in mind also, I know what it is that I need to buy. A lot of times people get caught up and walk out the store. You ever heard somebody tell you, man, I went in there for 2 things and I walked out with this whole basket. Why? Because then once they're in the store, all of those little signs.
It's a sensation like, oh, damn, Oreo, the Oreo cookies.
But no, and they see it, and they see for sale and things like that, and they grab their attention. So now they're buying things. So a lot of people are buying things that they don't even need, but because it's on sale or because it's a good deal, they just gonna go up, up, up. I'm gonna get it.
That remind me of, like, you ever seen Extreme Couponing, where people go?
I watch that show all the time, and one of the things that I appreciate about a show like that is it is showing that if you take the time to plan before you go to the store, you can get everything that you need and then some, and not spend a lot of money. That's what I take away from that.
You have somebody in there like, I got 500 boxes
Oreo,
toothpaste, man.
Tide detergent.
You got a fallout shelter.
And then they have a stockpile in the middle of their dining room, shelf upon shelf, all kinds of detergent and this and that. That's great, but
That's why when all
Then
this
what do you
started,
do with it?
when all this started, that's why we couldn't get cleaning supplies. Extreme couponing. You mentioned the air fryer, and I know the air fryer has become very popular. And as people of color, we love our fried foods, right? So, what
Yes,
would
we
you
do.
say is the best type of oil people should use if they are going to be frying?
I mean, it all depends on what you're frying, because certain things have to fry at certain temperatures. So there are certain oils that just don't hold up to those high heats. So like myself, I do use a lot of coconut oil when I cook, because coconut oil is a lot better. But I can't use
healthier.
coconut oil to fry anything. It just can't withstand
Yeah.
that 350 to 400 degree temperature. The oil is gonna burn. It's gonna give a real bad
Smoky,
taste to your
right,
food.
right.
I like to use vegetable oil. I know a lot of people like to use peanut oil, because peanut oil can withstand the high heat, but I have a daughter with peanut allergies, so because I can't make everything separate. I have to figure out a way
The
to
universal way, right?
so to make certain things. And the other thing is too, everything in moderation. We'll have fried chicken in my house, but not every day. Like, it'll be, a once every, month or so, like that. But again, expand your idea of food, expand your household menu. Make things that you can actually say, wow, I want to make that again. That was really good. And it wasn't heavy, and it wasn't oily, and it wasn't, again, the air fryer, from what I'm told, it can do all kinds of things. It can roast your veggies and cook your french fries, and
it does everything.
it can do a whole lot of things that you can still do
Bake a cake.
yourself. Like, I love a Dutch pot. Anybody who know me can tell you I have at least 6 of them. And each Dutch pot serves a different purpose depending on what it is that I'm cooking. But the best thing about a Dutch pot or a Dutch oven, some people refer to it as that, is it literally holds the heat universally throughout that pot. So everything that's in that pot is going to cook the same way, the same time, the same everything. The set it and forget it, the push it in and leave it, the crock pot and all of that stuff. Yeah, okay, I guess if you have a busy schedule and you want to kind of just have something that could, I'm not opposed to it either. I own a crock pot that I use maybe 2 or 3 times out of the year when I'm doing really huge events and stuff like that. But the air fryer, to me, it's as my brother would say, it's a dehydrator. That's really what all it's doing, is just taking the moisture out of the food and giving it that crispness.
Right.
I don't know if I want that.
We probably it was maybe 4 years ago. I was at a company, and at the company, they would do like cooking challenges, and they had a battle of crock pot versus traditional cooking. And some of the dishes that people made in crock pots, I was like, get the hell out of here. I didn't know you could make that in a crock pot. Like,
make a
people
lot.
was making
Yeah.
baked mac and cheese, brownies, all kind of stuff. In my mind, crock pots are like for stews and,
Slow
things like
cooking,
that.
yeah.
But if you have an understanding of cooking, I think you can cook anything in any vessel. I literally will never forget, we were at my brother's house one summer, and my dad decided to like make us a fire pit. And he literally took like an old steel drum,
old rim from a car.
dug a hole into the ground, dropped it in there, and was like, all right, what y'all want me to cook? And I was just like, word? That's how we do it. So if you understand cooking, you understand temperatures, you understand, overall how many things, how long things take to cook, you can cook it. And so, you could make brownies in a crock pot if you understand, because you're literally just putting everything in, you're covering, you're setting it at a certain temperature and just letting it
go.
Letting it do what it does. It's the same thing as putting it in a pan and sticking it in the oven.
Yeah, I just think like sometimes ingenuity goes a little bit too far.
That's timing.
We have
That's crazy.
a saying in our house that's like sort of, it's become like a coin phrase that we use. So there's a meal and there's a meal.
Okay.
Now
Break
it's
that
hard.
down,
Okay, so a meal may be just burger and fries.
Okay.
A meal may consist of, when you start talking about, oh, here's some baked chicken, here's the
Vegetables.
greens,
Oh,
here's
snap.
you know, all the other
We
stuff
got
and
nothing but
everything.
meals happening.
Meal.
We meals.
So just out of curiosity, how much does it cost to make a salad like this? Because we're talking about balling on a budget.
So, really and truly, that's less than $5 in your hand. Between the romaine, the cabbage, all of the ingredients that go into the dressing itself are things that people will already have in their pantry. And the most expensive thing in it is the chicken. And I use chicken breast. I cut the chicken breast in half before I even grill it. So you can actually make this, you know, a few times over from one pack of chicken. Again, depending on where you shop and how you shop and everything like that. But that salad in itself is less than $5. And you can make that and have that for your lunch for a couple of days if you make it all at once and kind of portion it out.
Right.
So you made some other dishes also. You want to tell everybody what the other dishes are?
Okay, so we'll go down the line. So there's a veggie medley that you have in front of you, which again, this veggie medley, a full plate of it is under $1. I am not opposed to buying frozen vegetables, but I don't believe in buying frozen vegetables and having them live in your freezer for years. They should be used within a few weeks of you buying them. And I take a couple of different kind of vegetables. I use Brussels sprouts, mixed vegetables. You can throw some corn in there if you like, spinach, broccoli. And I literally just throw it into a pot with, again, coconut oil. I use the coconut oil to saute some garlic and some tomato and
make it flavorful.
Just to get some flavor in there. And if you want, you can add, I know, you know.
People are opposed to vegetables for some reason. People just, I don't want a vegetable.
But you can make vegetables taste really good.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes,
You could throw some pumpkin in there. You know, all my Caribbean, shout out to y'all because we love to cook with pumpkin because it's good. It adds a depth and a body of flavor to your food that otherwise, you know, wouldn't be there. Once you understand your taste buds and you know how you want something to taste, that's when you get into the kitchen and turn into the mad scientist because you can literally throw it, or you can even take things out. Like I said, I have 2 kids in my household who don't eat meat.
You and your brother are chemists when it comes to food
because
and beverage.
we understand flavor and we understand and you know, I can't take all of the credit for that. It's just
shout out to
something
Real
that,
Edible Treats too on that one.
It's just something that comes from, I think, lineage, heritage. You know, in the South, they learned how to cook from Big Mama, and you know, they had that staple in their family. I got the opportunity to watch my grandmother cook, my mother cook, my father cook, to learn from all of them, to learn how they put food together, how they put flavors together, and watching them and everything that they do. And we are not afraid to be experimental with certain things. My dad, you know, watching him do the things that he did and to create with his own hands. My father built his own record shop. He built his own studio in the basement of that record shop. He literally said, I'm going to have this business and I'm going to make it the way I want it. I'm not going to let anyone else visualize my vision. And he built it with his own twin and built a successful business in the early 90s. Shout out to Hammer Records on Dyer Avenue in the Bronx was where everybody came for their new sounds and also where they came to record. So seeing that and being inspired by that creativity and looking at what my father literally buying the wood, cutting the wood and everything, that's where the budget comes into with the food. Looking at things and saying, what can I make with this limited amount of resource? I have literally 3 bags of frozen vegetables. What can I do? You can do a whole lot because you can take that veggie medley after you make it and you can put it into a pocket and make an empanada. Or you can steam some rice and eat it with some rice. So again, for me, having, you know, the food differences in my house with those that don't eat meat versus those that do, I will substitute certain things. Instead of cooking with chicken broth, which a lot of people I know use to add flavor, or chicken bouillon cubes and things like that, I can't use that. I'll use a vegetarian stock. Has good flavor to it still. You can make your own stock if you don't want to buy vegetable stock. Because buying the vegetables and it's literally stock is just what? You cook it down, you strain the liquid,
strain it,
and that's how you have your stock. So when you're looking at prices,
O-
if you look at...
older people call it pot liquor.
All right, old man, you would know that. You would know that.
Pot liquor.
So
that's that little corner after you get all the greens out.
Yeah.
You drink that, boy. I'm telling you, it'll run right through you. Clean you up. Clean you up real good, boy.
You a mess.
Listen,
You a mess.
I know. Pot liquor.
What other dishes do you have for us?
So I made a black bean and just with a fried green plantain, and the black beans again. In this preparation, I used canned black beans. I just rinsed them off really well because it cooks down a lot faster. You could use the dried beans. You can literally buy a 5-pound bag of dried black beans for about $6. And that can feed you multiple times. So if you think about, I can buy a 5-pound bag of beans for $6, and I could buy a 20-pound bag of rice for about $10 to $12.
That's a month. That's
so
months.
for under $20, you
of food
can
right
make rice and beans. Now again, I'm not saying that people want to eat rice and beans every day of the week, but if you think about how you're shopping and what you're spending on, you're not spending a lot of money. I'm not spending a lot of money on food unless I choose to. And when I choose to, it's because, you know what? My honey loves scallops. I'm going to make him some scallops.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to buy the little funky looking ones. I'm going to get him. He's a big man. He deserves to have some good scallops.
Nice.
But who, you don't eat like that all the time either. Again, balance, moderation, understanding food, understanding flavor. You can literally buy a green plantain. I think they're $1.
Right.
So all in all, that black beans, and if you wanted to pair with rice with that plantain, you still made an entire meal for less than $5.
Meal.
Yeah.
And it's a meal because you feel full after you eat it. You feel as though you kind of covered all of your bases in your palate because the black beans do have, texturally, but then the plantain adds a little bit because you hit it with a little salt after you cook it.
They turn black beans into burgers, man.
Yeah.
Black bean burger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, though.
You do like a good black bean burger. And then the last thing that I have is probably the most expensive price-wise, but still not expensive depending on where you buy your food. I made a curried shrimp with, it's curried coconut shrimp with just some regular plain white rice. Again, using the coconut milk to build your sauce that you're literally, because shrimp take no time to cook.
Right.
So you're more so building the flavor and making that. So I add coconut milk, some ginger, which is very good for you. The color of curry comes from the turmeric, which is also very good, very flavorful. Some tomato, garlic. Again, anything that you, from a flavor perspective that you can enjoy. And it's not expensive. The most expensive thing that's in that bowl is the shrimp, depending on where you buy your shrimp. And quantity will depend on, how much it costs. But I buy my shrimp when it's on sale. So
Right.
I can get a good 2 pounds of shrimp for under $20.
So logistically, you really don't have to panic when you don't have the things readily accessible. Go in your pantry, and there's some things in there you can put together. Very flavorful, based on your flavor profile, or your palate.
Absolutely.
And you can put some nice in together. This is beautiful, babe. I mean, I'm biased, but
Nah, it's
trust me,
really
man.
good. Yeah.
When I tell people this lady can cook, she's at the best of it, man.
And I think it's about being thoughtful when you cook. That's
Gotta put some love in it,
the
man.
chef quality. Being thoughtful when someone said, because I feel like a lot of times people have ideas of food without really understanding food, because they want you to make something like, oh, can you just make that? Well, do you actually know what goes into making that? No, they really don't. They're just like, oh, just
want
make
that.
I want that. So, but I like to have those conversations.
Give me an example of like something somebody may ask you that, like what you was just describing.
I have a wonderfully beautiful sister who loves banana pudding. And whenever I can, I will make banana pudding for her. But anyone who understands banana pudding and what's in it, that's not something that you should necessarily make to just have sit. banana pudding really only lasts in your refrigerator for about 2 to 3 days.
Yeah, before the bananas start
Before the
going brown.
bananas start to turn and everything like that. So when someone says, "Oh, can you make me a huge bowl of banana pudding?" I can make it for you, but then what are you gonna do with it? Because it's not gonna last very long.
You can't eat that by yourself.
You definitely can't eat that by yourself. So, you know, when it comes to people, again, with these ideas of and these requests for, I don't like to make things like whiting. I love to eat fried whiting, but I don't really like to make those for an event that I'm catering unless they have the space for me to cook it on site. Because once you fry it, you need to eat it. You don't want to reheat fried whiting. It doesn't have that same crunch. You want that crunch of like the cornmeal batter that you put on it. You want it to still be hot. You make that, you cover it, then the steam gets to it, and then it gets
loose and soggy.
and then it's just not as good. So there are some requests that I get that unfortunately I have to turn down. A lot of people want my red velvet chicken and waffles. Well, do you have a space?
Say that again? Red velvet chicken and waffles.
I make them.
Slip that red velvet chicken and waffles.
Red velvet, my little.
Red velvet waffle
Which is the baby's favorite.
with-
Actually, you taught the baby how to make it.
I did teach her how to make it, and she just
2 days ago.
She just
and we
made
was
some
in the
red
house
velvet
killing
waffles.
it, son.
Yes, with a homemade cream cheese based sweet glaze. Very, very good.
You don't even need no syrup, bro.
Very good, very heart healthy. If you make, a lot of people like to use the pre-made pancake mix or cake mix to make it. You can actually make flour, cocoa powder, bread food coloring to give it the color. Like, again, look at things now with the internet. You can literally find a recipe for everything online. I don't trust every recipe. Sometimes they throw things in there that I'm like, I'll look up a recipe for something I've never made before, and I'll omit certain things, and I'll add my own little spin to it, and I'll make it mine.
When you look online and you see recipes, do they usually have the picture of the person who
No.
put it together?
No.
Is that important? Because I'm just how I look, how I'm wide. I'm be honest with you. I'll be looking. I'll be like, you look like you a salt and pepper season.
You know what's
No
funny?
adobo.
You know what's funny?
You look like no adobos.
I watch a lot of cooking TV. A lot of it. Because I feel like if this is my craft, I have to always stay on point with my craft and see what else is out there. And I watch some of these home chefs, some of them are professional chefs, whatever you want to call them, restaurateurs, and I'm looking at them, and some things that they do sometimes, I am a little baffled by. Like, when they open up the paper packaging and they undo the twine, and they just pull that chicken, slap it on a cutting board, and get to work. You're not even just going to get that little vinegar wash, a little rinse. No, we're not going to do that. Okay. All right. You know, to each his own, I guess. Or when they put things together that you just say to yourself, how can that possibly taste good? Like I've seen them make these variations on macaroni and cheese that just make my heart say, no ma'am, I will not. I refuse. So, you know, again, I like to watch that versus even just looking up an online recipe, because I want to see how they put it together and what their end result is. Because, you know, there's a lot of TV magic that goes on with these cooking shows. But then there are other cooking shows where you're literally watching them go through the process. And those are usually like the competition shows.
Right.
Where they're, you know, cooking for a prize and everything like that. But even watching those, what they would call an amateur chef, throw things together, I get ideas from them. I'm like, wow, I never would have thought of taking, you know, a store-bought rotisserie chicken and breaking that up and making a chicken salad out of it. You know what I mean? But that's actually something that they do.
What's the into the audience, Tanya? What's the show that we were watching? I don't know if it was on Netflix, but it was the people cooking with CBD with Khalees.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Yeah.
That's an exciting show.
They don't just use CBD, bro.
I love to watch that show.
They use the good stuff too.
Do you see when they go to the pantry to see what they have to work with, and they open those doors, and it's like, they have everything from oils to powders
sugar,
to infuse salts, and oh my gosh, it
How
is
you
literally
infuse salt? That's
from a chef's perspective. That to me, it's like a just a whiteboard that I'm ready. It's like a white train that you want to graffiti like in the 80s. Like, yo, you could do anything with that.
It's another set of ingredients outside of your regular salt, pepper, adobo. We just have another section.
And contrary to what
flavor.
people believe, you're not just cooking with this herb for the purpose of elevation. It actually does bring, like any other herb, rosemary, thyme, mint, they're all in the herb family.
Yeah.
This is in the herb family as well. There's actual benefits to it, different things from a flavor perspective. But when I saw them turn that into ice cream, I said, yes, Lord, this is what I need to be doing.
The one episode
But I don't have
that
access to
I
the
watched,
pantry.
the one episode that I watched, it was a dude that I think that was like a vegetarian or something like that, and the dish looked so good. The dude was like, I'll give that a try. I'll taste that.
Right.
I was like, wow, blown away. Like the dude was like, yeah, I haven't ate meat in years, but I'm gonna give that a try.
There are times when I'll make certain things at home, and my pescatarian child will look at it and say, well, that sure look good. It's a lifestyle choice.
You about to make somebody fall off the wagon.
Listen, it's a lifestyle choice that they've committed to. They've decided to eliminate meat from their diet, and it's one that I fully and completely support. And I cook to support their habit. It actually started for me years ago, and that's why I say this journey of cooking, I feel like it's just been my life. It literally has been taken, on different phases, but from very, very early on, from me cooking out of one of the places that I lived in, I had a back door. And my back door was right off of the kitchen, so I would always keep the door open, a nice fresh breeze while I'm cooking. My next door neighbor used to cut hair in the back of his house. One day he came and he just lightly tapped the door. Hey, how you doing? Janelle, what's going on? Da-da-da. We started talking. He said, so what are you cooking? He said, I have a customer over here who has been smelling whatever you're cooking for the last 20 minutes, getting his cut. He want to know if he could buy a plate off for you. I said, he want to buy a plate of my food? And sure enough, he paid me, I think it was probably like $6 or $7 for a plate of food. Nice. But then every time someone would come over for a cut, all of a sudden it's like, can you let me know what you're cooking? Because I got such and such coming over.
The barbershop got a kitchen in it.
And it kind of started from there, where now all of a sudden, and I used to grill in the backyard. I lived at the time right next to the schoolyard. So there would be kids running around in the schoolyard playing. Miss Janelle, can I get a hot dog? Can I get a hamburger? So now I'm literally through the little hole in the fence, feeding the neighborhood kids. Their parents were coming to me to offer me money like, you didn't have to do that, thank you so much. I'm like, it's no problem. And from that, I think, I didn't realize it at the time, but that was just starting like, wow, this food is going to take you on a journey like none you've ever experienced.
So what are your goals for Nellz Kitchen? What do you see coming down the line?
The biggest goal, of course, is to just be doing Nellz Kitchen 24/7. Like for that to really and truly, unfortunately right now that's not the case, but that's not the goal either. Right. Like eventually I would love to have my own storefront, my own food truck. I would love to be able to do this and to,
cookbook. I know you mentioned
the cookbook has been such a, it's just been something in my heart that I want to do, but I want to do it the right way. Yeah. I want to have something that I'm presenting that I feel like every single time someone opens up that cookbook, they're going to feel like they're stepping into my kitchen with me. Right. Like they're having a Nellz Kitchen experience. I don't want it to just be a recipe, ingredients. Like you have to understand,
story behind it.
Absolutely. Like that, yeah. And food should come with a story. I know for me,
shit, I got a lot of stories.
So many stories associated with food. Everything that I cook, or even in my family, when they reminisce of, oh, remember when you made and such happened, and like there's a lot of even events. We've had like events. I've had birthday parties, graduation parties. My daughter's graduation party was more of a success than I ever could have thought of. Kanala's Wakanda. We had a Wakanda themed graduation party, and the food was just in abundance and plentiful as it always is. And all of my family came, and my friends came, and her friends came, and everyone was so happy. And they were happy celebrating her graduation, but they was happy because of the
They
food.
was getting fed that day.
Everything that came out. One of my aunts, who's so near and dear, she's literally known me my whole life, and she said, man, your hands are blessed. What you do with this food, keep doing whatever it is. She said, I don't know what it is, and I don't want you to tell me. I just want you to keep doing
what you're
it.
doing. That's right.
And that, to me, that's inspiring. We have to encourage one another. We have to inspire. And I have a huge family, and we're all gifted in our own
Different
special
ways,
ways. Like I mentioned, my dad, you know, being gifted with his hands and doing what he did with his record shop. My brother is also very gifted with what he's doing with his edible treats business, his prints business. He's done mayoral campaigns. I mean, the abundance of, to me, the experience that we bring, the encouragement that we bring, the ideas that we bring and share. And my oldest daughter is working on her fashion brand right now. She's always been into it, but now she's actually turning herself into a brand. And I feel like that's from her watching me, but I got it from watching my dad.
Right.
My dad, I'm sure, got it from watching someone else that inspired him. So we have to continue to do that. It's not just about eating. It's about an experience. It's about learning, always growing, always wanting to grow,
Right.
and still staying within your lane, not going crazy, not feeling like you have to keep up with the masses and the Joneses. You see the plates when around Thanksgiving time and stuff, and everybody start posting their plates. Oh, we eating good over here.
Some of them
Struggle
plates
plates
looking
came
terrible.
struggle plates became a thing for a reason. Some of those plates, and I love anyone who's willing to try just a little bit harder before you put it on the gram. No, I'm not saying we all have to be, you know,
Right.
magazine cover with it.
Some of
We
that
ain't
stuff
got
But-
that Bobby Flay out there.
But I'm gonna need you to get that dry chicken bone off the plate
Or at
before you
least
take the
cook it.
picture.
There's people who have raw food and everything.
It's
Yeah.
crazy out there, man.
And that, and again, that's about understanding food. If you understand food, you understand that a turkey should be cooked before you eat it. Like, you should be able to actually not see red or pink.
Some of those places you're like, oh.
Ugh.
So where if people wanted to try any of these dishes or have you cater an event, how do they get in contact with you?
I mean, I'm always available. Email, Nellz Kitchen.
918@gmail.
Thank you very much. My Instagram, Nellz_kitchen. You can DM me. I get DMs all the time. People will look at my pictures and they'll send me a DM. Okay, how did you do that? What did you do with that? I literally, a few weeks ago, I bought a whole oxtail that I butchered myself to make oxtail dinner. And one of my old coworkers sent me a message like, how did you do that? And talk slow. Like, she wanted to know exactly how I did it because of just how good it looked. I'm not opposed to sharing. I don't feel like this is mine. It's food. I didn't birth food. We all have to consume it though, so why shouldn't we all eat good?
Right.
And you deliver also, right?
And I deliver within reason.
Okay, so
I'm willing to meet you, but don't hit me talking about, can you meet me at rest stop 1 off the tap? No, not doing that. But we can work some things out. I try to keep it within a 45 to 50 mile radius because then it just doesn't make sense.
That's generous, even that far.
Well, I gotta go that far. Most of my family is in New York,
Yeah,
so I have to go
yeah,
that
that's
far.
generous.
My mother feels a little jealous because she's in South Jersey,
Oh.
and that is way more than
Yeah.
the 45,
that's
50
like
miles.
a 2 hour and some change.
She does get a little disturbed
Jonesy. We love you,
when
Jonesy.
she sees my posts that she can't get any. But you know, whenever I can, I try to reach out. And during this time, actually, I've been cooking for a lot of people who aren't even necessarily ordering from Nellz Kitchen, but I have an older sister who I love dearly who is a nurse, the one we talked about earlier, and after doing 3 doubles back to back, she don't need to go home and be on her feet to try to also feed herself. So she's my essential worker because whenever I have a question about him with his health or if one of the kids or something, I call her first. She's my MP all day.
Nice.
So I'll make her food, run it down to her house, drop it off to my niece. Here, this is for y'all. Thank you.
That's cool.
So I'm also trying to, you know, just again do my part as well and make sure that the people that I know that are doing what they need to do are also being taken care
Yeah.
of.
You have you do custom orders? You have like a menu that you work off for people?
I pretty much can cook anything. A lot of people just go through my Instagram and they'll see something like, I want that. Other people are like, oh, can you make me this? And it really just also depends on, I can't get Baltimore crab that I could steam for you. Like, it's just, we're just not there. So as long as I have access to the supplies, I can get to the things. If I could put it together, you could get it.
Nice.
DM me for prices, though.
Right. That's what's up, man.
Prices vary depending on the season. Just saying.
Dope. So, anything you want to say in closing?
Shout out to y'all for doing this. Actually, Shannon, I've already said this to you, but I'm going to say it again so everybody can know. This was just such a heaven-sent idea that you came up with to do No Ideas Original, because Rob, for years, I've been encouraging him, because we have these conversations sometimes at home, and I'm like, we should have a camera on us, because the things that we talk about, we're both very thoughtful people, and we can have a conversation and then some. So when he mentioned to me that you guys were going to do this, and I'm like, this is the perfect platform for him, because he loves to talk and he loves to build off of those ideas. Keeping it 100, but it is what it is.
Where did that come from?
Episode 1, I said that too. Like,
Where did that come from?
She was like,
And here y'all are at episode 10 and doing something so phenomenal, supporting, small business owners in the way that y'all are doing. That is so huge, because in my opinion, we're all business owners. Because we are owners of ourselves. And we have to treat ourselves like a business, because when we working in corporate America, isn't that what they treating us like too? Oh, yeah. So why can't we think of ourselves in that same way? Nell's Kitchen for me is going to be the way that I am able to leave something of myself for my family. They can run with it. They can just take the cookbook if they want and expand upon it. They can take the business, as long as they don't franchise me out like they did to Miss Sylvia. I'm still mad about that. I'm just saying, I grew up in New York. Going to Miss Sylvia's was like...
Sylvia's a bistro now. It was tables outside and everything.
But it changed it. You know what I mean? It took it
I remember when it was a mom and pop. You remember when it was a mom and pop? And you walked in there, the seats were crick, everything was...
Everybody was in their Sunday best, though. Like, you went there and you felt like you were stepping out, and you got I want the essence of me to always be at the helm of everything.
I think Sylvia's probably sell like greens in a can or something like that.
In the supermarket. Yeah. Collard greens in a can. Brown sauce. What's brown sauce? Ain't that the gravy that comes? Like, come on. Man.
They start selling pot liquor, we in trouble.
So I think for me, the future of Nell's Kitchen is for me to just continue to do what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
And I always do everything with love. Like I said, it doesn't matter if I'm catering for a neighbor, a stranger, or a member of my family. It's the same each and every single time. Consistency is key, and I feel like everyone needs that, especially now. People are afraid to love each other. Why? It ain't gonna hurt you. Yeah. And you can love on some food without killing yourself. Yeah. And we are killing ourselves.
If we do it correctly.
Loving food. Yeah. We what were we watching the other day with it was a family, 3 siblings, 2 sisters and a brother. And between the 3 of them, they weighed like a ton.
Oh, my
600-pound life.
Yeah.
And it's like they enabled one another, because when one was eating bad, they all ate bad. And as a family, they all had to change their dynamic and change their mind.
How food is emotional. People when they're feeling bad or they want to feel happy, they'll go eat something that makes this makes me feel good. It's like, how does food have that? To them, it has that connection.
But it shouldn't be the only connection. I think, having good emotional connections with other things as well. Right. Again, that's the balance of it.
Yeah. God bless you, babe.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you, Nellz, for joining us. We appreciate it. And thank you for the food, too.
You're very welcome. Anytime.
Down.
Anytime. I'm going to have an order for the missus coming through real soon.
We're going to have to hit you out for that red velvet.
Yes, I got the order.
I text you.
I got the order. Jerk chicken and rice and peas. Don't ever let me hear you say peas and rice again, okay?
Rice and peas.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this concludes episode 10 of No Ideas Original. Check us
Ballin'
out.
on the
We're
budget, baby.
on YouTube now, Spotify,
iHeart, Google, Apple, Stitcher.
Yeah,
What else?
that's it. Yeah. Peace, everybody.
And the theater near you.